Hello and welcome to Big Alt Games unboxing video of the brand new Magic the Gathering Arena of the Planeswalkers board game. So this has been made by Wizards and Hasbro and it's based on the Magic the Gathering card game. I'm just going to do an unboxing of it to show you what's inside the box. So I'll open this up. I'll confess, unfortunately I don't know huge amounts about the actual game. I know it's based on the old Heroescape game. But we'll open it up, have a look through and see what's in here. So immediately you can see all the beautiful miniatures in here. There's 30 squad miniatures as they call them, so these are the creatures you can summon during the game. And then 5 Planeswalkers. Let's have a look. So let's pull some of these out. Just one or two by random, so they're quite firmly in there, which is nice. So here we have one of the white creatures you can summon, which is a Rhinox. So hopefully the glare's not too bad on that white, but you can see the models have got a nice level of detail for something that's been mass produced. I'd say the pose isn't terrible either. I know that's not much of a great review, but so there's a nice bit there. I think a small amount of paint would really help with some of these miniatures, just help them shine that a little bit more. Here we have one of Jace's summons. Probably one of his phantasms, which we'll see in the cards later. So it's a nice symbol showing on his cloak there. You can see a spell effect coming off of his hand. We'll have a look at one of Chandra's phoenixes. So each of these in this sort of like semi-translucent plastic. So I think for anyone wanting to paint these up, unless you're willing to go the whole way and paint the entire model, maybe just some ink on there just to pick out some of the details would be really nice. You can see all these nice feathers on the phoenix there and the flame effects. Let's have a look at one of these black creatures. So some of these are quite firmly in the plastic holder, so poses a bit of a weird one on there. Again, the proportions look a bit weird. Not overly impressed with this one. But I think I'm much less impressed with these. These are like animated vines and trees used by Nissa. Unfortunately, the detail on it isn't great. It just sort of all melds together and looks a bit generic and boring, unfortunately. Some of the other ones are much nicer sculpts on them. Have things like, let's try and pick him out as well, if I can get him out of that. So you have a couple side by side. So in the white being one of the core soldier, KOR that is, and this looks like it's one of the Eldrazi, I believe, or a sliver potentially actually. Here's to remembering which slot they go in. So each slot is specific to each creature. I think put in this, if you're going to keep this as a storage solution, you're going to have to sort of remember which model goes where for ease of getting it back into the box. So again, the Firecat there, another one of Chandra's. Unfortunately, a bit of a mold mark there, unfortunately, but this is one of the larger double based ones. And we have these two as well. These are used to like elevate the terrain, to give it a bit of depth, so everything's not just one big flat board. Everything's done in hexes, which we'll see as we go further into the box. And then we have the Planeswalkers. So we'll start with Gideon himself. So I'm just going to pull this tray out so I can pop them out from behind. So here we have Gideon. This translucent plastic showing in his sort of whip. I can't remember what he calls it. And in the base, I'll be honest, the paint job on that, it's let's be honest, it's not great. Very faded and run through on there. A lot of the details have been missed. I mean, obviously it's mass produced, but still a lot of details have been missed. Paint missing from underneath the shield. I think it's quite It's a nice miniature, it's a nice sculpt, but unfortunately the factory paint job on that is rather bad, I think. Then we have Jace, the poster boy for the set. Again, we can see the spell effects in his hands, which I think look pretty cool. Much better paint job there, especially on the face. It's actually painted incorrectly. Again, so the details are picked out nicely on there. We have Liliana. So one of her spells been cast through her hand. Again, unfortunately, they've just, the skin colour and ink and stuff is just completely washed through. She's supposed to have these runes across her skin, which they've tried to put the detail in for, but unfortunately it just comes out looking quite messy with the factory paint job, unfortunately. We have Chandra. 2 flames of fury in her hands. Some pretty, so you can see that those are her hands on the end, by the way. This one, again, the paint's not too bad, but can you see this? This base is actually warped, unfortunately. It's quite a bendy, flexible material they're made of, so you could put that in some warm water and just bend it back, but straight out of the box, it's not a very nice thing to have, unfortunately. And then we have Nissa, who once again, the skin, just the colour of it is completely bled out. She looks like a horrible pale colour there. So the greens looks nice on her, and having the effect on the end of her staff, which turns into a sword, which is a sword cane. Nothing's really picked out on the cloak though either. So yeah, overall the miniatures, they're not terrible. They're fairly alright for like mass-produced miniatures, but the paint job on these could have been a lot better, I think. And making the other ones in translucent obviously meant they got to avoid that. So let's put that to one side. And then we'll have a look in here. So again, this is another one of the tiles. So this can be pulled apart and used to raise the terrain up, or because of these interlocking parts, they can be used to create like a whole, a network of raised sections. Future expansions, and there will be expansions for this, will give you increased terrain options, so that'll be good to see. So yeah, there's those. So you get the custom dice in here, which I'm just going to rip that open and show you. So, show you a couple of the dice. So you have attack and defense symbols. These are reused from the Magic game itself. So you have 1, 2, 3 attack on there, 2 defense, and 1 blank. So you could use a d6 to represent these if you ever needed to, but it's always nice having these custom printed dice with the custom etchings. So then you have discs in here. Let's have a look. So unfortunately I don't know a huge amount of actually playing the game. I haven't had a chance yet to have a go with this, but assuming these are for spell effects to show buffs characters have given the Planeswalkers, so increased movement, increased toughness, the knowledge ability, and then flip that over, power +1. And on the back of these as well, you've got the Planeswalker symbol, so these are quite nice. These are useful things to have to represent game effects. Always nice to have them represented by something physical. You get a spin down D20 in here. So this is something most Magic players will be used to. It's a D20, but unlike a normal D20, this one actually spins down. So 20, 19, 18, 17, so on and so forth. So not great for randomizing, but very good for tracking life totals. And you get a load of cubes in here, and I'm not sure what these will be used for. I'm assuming damage markers. So they're just little, as you see, quite little, little translucent cubes, which will just be used to represent damage. Put those back in there so I don't lose them. So here we have the cards for Arena of the Planeswalkers. So this is a card game. Unfortunately you can see there's a bit of a dent there in the cards, possibly from when it's being shrink wrapped. I'm just going to use a trusty safety blade. Just score that down there to open that up. So if you do it like I did, just be very careful you don't mark the cards. So, as you see, these are nice long cards. I've seen from some of the photos, if you put 2 sleeves over this, one on either end, you can sleeve these up, because these are in no way any kind of standard sized card. So that is one way to keep these protected. So this gives you, so this will be for Liliana. It shows you the model it goes with, and shows you the life, movement, range, attack and defense values, and also shows you any ability she has. So for example, she has zombie toughness. Her zombies have, she controls which are within 4 clear sight spaces of her, get +1 defense, so they have to be still in line of sight. And then she also has snuff out, destroy target squad creature that has 1 or more damage markers and is within 6 sight once per turn. Then we get her Blighted Reavers, Restless Zombies. And then we have the Leyline Phantoms. So these are for Jace. So Jace Valerian, the Mind Mage. And Illusionary Projectiles. Sorry, they're such big cards, it's difficult to keep them in camera. We have Nissa with her Elf Rangers and Pole Root Elementals, the ones I'm not too impressed with the models for. Chandra comes with the Flaming Phoenixes and her Blazing Fire Cats. And then Gideon comes with Core Hook Masters and Rocks Veterans. Did I say Rhinox earlier? Sorry, Rocks. So you get 2 squads for each of your Planeswalkers, so it's a good place to start. Good bit of variety to begin the game with. Of course, like I said, this will be highly expandable. And then we have here the train boards. So again, I'm just going to cut this. Just going to cut this open so I can get them out of their shrink wrap prison. Just be very careful here not to actually cut. There we go. Cut the cardboard. So let's uncover all of this. I will get through this. There we go. Cellophane everywhere. So, the way this game is played, you lay out these terrain boards, these hex tiles, and you'll pair them up with other ones. So it's quite big to show you on the camera, but these will all connect to each other. We'll get this the right way around to do it. So these interlock with each other, and you can use it to create, quite different and quite unique ways of playing. So the terrain will be a bit different every time you play. I'll switch these around so you can see the bit I'm trying to show you. So for example, you can interlock these two. So you've got the big water feature at the bottom. I'll flip it around. Ta-da! You've got a smaller water feature. Obviously the art for them doesn't always line up exact, but it's on the back of them as well. So this one just says Planeswalkers, but then you have one that tells you about a little bit about Nissa. One that Chandra gets her own spot as well. Lily gets hers. We have Jace as well. And Gideon Jura. And underneath here, we have some punch outs for some larger terrain effects. So let's pop that out of there. That was nice and easy. And then these are used. We get the connecting piece. to create even more sort of elevated terrain, line of sight blockers, just to make the, you know, that table you're playing on a little bit more dynamic, and again introduce variety into each time you play it, plus some nice hiding spots for your models to hide behind, you know, when Nissa wants to hide away, for example. And then we have underneath the final part of the box, we have the rulebook. So this explains how you play and about the different parts of the game. Now, unfortunately, I'm hearing some not such great feedback about this, about this rulebook. Apparently, it's a bit awkwardly laid out and not a huge amount is explained correctly. I assure you that Hasbro and Wizards are probably working on updating this. Keep an eye out, I'm sure someone will announce any updates that are needed. But it is more than enough to get you started and to get you going with playing for your first few games at least. There we go, we have the battlefields here. So how to build them. So this is all of this terrain at the moment is for a plane called Chandlar, which is sort of like becoming the home plane of Magic at the moment, after Dominaria had certain things happen to it in Time Spiral. Unfortunately, the turn tracker, because there's a turn limit, is printed next to the battlefields in the rulebook, which is quite a bad place, especially the first few times you're playing it, because you might want to flick through the book to find rules, unless you could lose turns. So you might want to find another way to keep track of whose turn it is and when. So, but those are there. So there we go. This explains some battlefield setup. So of course you can set it up in ways that you want to, of course. That's the beauty of this flexible system. So there we go, that is everything that is in the box for Arena of the Planeswalker. So you're getting lots of miniatures in there, especially for that price tag. It's quite cheap to get a hold of so much plastic. And all of these terrain boards as well. So having all of this as well, you're going to have a lot of replayability in here. To start with, again, it's 2 to 5 players, so you can, you know, play just one-on-one versus your friend, or you can start mixing it up and, you know, introduce more people into the fold. And the game is going to be expandable. There will be expansions for it. They've already announced the first one, Battle for Zendikar, ready for the new set, and that expansion is due out in I think it's in January, or at least the early part of next year. And there we go. That is everything in the Arena of the Planeswalker box set. I think for fans of Magic, the theme is there definitely. There is definitely a lot there for Magic players. If you're if you're one of the Vorthos and you love the theme and the world, there's definitely plenty in here for you, especially having these miniatures of such, you know, infamous creatures. And as they expand it, there'll be a lot more coming into it as well. So as for board game fanatics, I think the system's going to be fairly simple to play. Like I said, I haven't actually had a chance to play it myself yet, but you can see I'm struggling to get this one back in now. You will go in. I think you're going to have to find a second storage solution for this if you do gain expansions. There's definitely no room to get anything else in here, really. But yeah, there we go. So I hope you enjoyed watching this short video, just unboxing this and explaining what's inside. If you have any feedback or comments, just remember to leave them in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and join us again when we do more unboxings in future. Take care, bye.